Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime Podcast, the podcast that's run by two ladies who play games, show profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome back to the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jenn.
My name is Emily, and yes, welcome back. I don't know, I don't think Jen would have seen this, but when we were starting our episode today, my kitten, I'm just going to say kitten, Rosemary, clued into the fact that I was sitting here and drinking coffee, and she's looking at me with her eyes very intensely in a way where I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen. It's either she's going to jump into my coffee or fly onto the keyboard, fly over my head. I'm not too sure.
I don't know if she's too sure yet. I think she might still be thinking about it.
She's got a lot of questions behind those eyes, and I don't trust any of them.
Yeah.
But either way, how are you this week, Jen? And what have you been up to recently? I feel like we usually just talk about work and Pokopia these days, so I'd be curious to hear on if you've got anything else going on.
I mean, I've officially lost my mind, and you know how I know? I joined an improv class.
Well, that'll do it.
I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm actually crazy enough. I think I might need to try this.
I need more lore. But just slightly more lore. You're like, I just need something for when I'm at work and people are like, ooh, like, what's your icebreaker? You're like, I got a good one.
I'm in an improv group.
Yeah. I'm actually all about that life. Broadway, I am on, no, not even Broadway. Like a comedic skit production. I am on my way.
You know, I don't know if because me and Emily did talk about my improv class a little bit in person without you guys. Sorry. I don't think I told you this part where the instructor was like, oh yeah, I also run a stand-up intro class where you like go to a random bar and like basically they put you up there in front of a bunch of strangers and just like feed you to the wolves.
Hang on.
Like,
let's go back to the beginning. What did he say this class was called?
Like an intro stand-up class.
Oh, no.
Which I don't think I'm brave enough for because I don't think I'm very funny.
Let's put you in front of a bunch of people and where you're guaranteed to be very nervous and not funny at all, and they're going to heckle the shit out of you. That feels like a humiliation ritual. He's like, pay me money and I'll embarrass you in public. Just watch me.
I might do it. I'm thinking about it.
I do that to myself for free already. I think I'm good.
You know, I might do it if I get even crazier than I already am. So if I tell you that I'm starting a stand-up class, send me to the psych ward.
It's time. Listen, I will be driving you there myself. You'll be like, Emily, we're going shopping right now. I'm like, yes.
Yes, sweet child. Yes,
and... Oh, that was stupid. Oh my god. But no, I wish I was up to something crazy. I feel like I have just been working at being a born girl, born lady. But I will say, in this moment right now, I'm drinking a decaf coffee, which I've gotten very passionate about recently. I've gotten very passionate about black coffee also, which is new for me. If anybody who's listening has been listening for a while, I think we talked especially earlier in the show about how I'm a bit of a sugar fiend. That has changed. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's coming up on 30 years old or what exactly has happened, but something like drinking a black coffee to me gives me the same satisfaction as what I imagine having a cigarette feels like, and I feel like I just need that, you know?
That's fair. I'm personally trying to wean myself off of my sugar addiction as well. Mm-hmm. So I didn't realize that I was drinking so much fucking sugar, but here we are.
You know what? If it's not sugar, you know what it is? Butter. everything is sugar, butter, and salt, and nothing else.
It's true. I do fuck with butter and salt, though.
Right? Oh, God.
I'm not giving those babies up for nothing.
You're like, you're like, I was presented with my 3 options, and I picked. I picked which one I'm cutting out.
Basically.
Right? No, there was something else I was gonna mention as far as, like, things that are new. I guess for when we're recording, Metopia did come out recently. Is that a game that you and your husband would ever consider playing? I'm very curious.
We were just talking about that before we started recording, and I honestly think I would try it, because it does look fun and weird, and I'm intrigued.
Me too. So I've never been, like, well, I don't know if I would say never been. I've fallen out of the creative side of, like, certain games. Like, I'm not, like, super big into sitting for hours and customizing something, because I do get obsessive and crazy about things. But at the same time, it kind of is giving me Sims energy, and I do love the idea of being able to make an island and then just put, like, literally anybody and anything that I want on it. It appeals to me.
It does appeal to me, too. And I also love Sims, but I feel that, I mean, I've never really had a gaming PC, so I've never gotten the full Sims experience. I've only ever played it on console, so I think I might scratch that itch a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
I think so. So what I did is I downloaded the demo, like, a while back, but I never actually, like, started playing it, because I was like, oh yeah, you know, like, literally the first thing they want you to do is sit there and design a character, and I'm like, well, obviously I'm gonna design myself, but that's a lot of work. So I've kind of just been, like, picking at it over the last little while, and I'm close. I'm close to finishing myself in the Metopia demo. I'm picking the pitch of my voice. So I feel like that's pretty close. And then as far as who's going to be on my island with me, I don't know. We'll see. Because I think you can add 3. Me? You can add 3 people into your demo.
Well, obviously one has to be me.
Well, okay, I can do that. As long as when you download the demo, you add in me as your second character.
Of course.
Because that's the fun thing, too. I
kind of feel like
it's kind of giving a little bit of gossip, too. Because when you start mixing in real people into the game, then you can start, like, ringing people up and be like, you'll never guess what you did today on the island.
Oh, I can't see now. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to tell me what I've done to you.
Imagine having a glass of wine, and then you've already got all of your, like, you do all your little creation stuff first, and then you make yourself a glass of wine, and then you sit there and then just let the havoc break loose. I think that'd be so much fun.
That's the dream.
It is the dream.
That's the dream. But we've yapped, so I feel like we should probably get into the wheel of questions. The wheel of questions.
Captain. Here we are, the wheel of crime, so there is going to be a wheel of questions.
Emily was reminding me that we've almost been doing this podcast for 8 years, and that's insane.
It's spooky. But just for reference for you guys, the reason I mentioned it is because I was looking at my microphone that I record on, and I was like, you have not been replaced since this podcast started. This old girl has been kicking around for 8 years. Few cables. I've gone through a few cables, but the microphone itself is in tip-top shape.
See, whereas I think I replaced my microphone like 2 or 3 years ago now. All right, let's spin for our first question.
Let's do it.
What do you think is scarier, being in trouble with the police or the CRA? And for context to our American listeners, that's like the IRS or, you know, the tax bureau.
I kind of feel like it's the CRA.
That's for me for sure. Because I'm like, my thought process is, I know I haven't committed any crimes, so I'm good. Like, I should be able to get some legal help and get out of the police situation. The CRA, although I know I haven't done anything wrong there either, I'm just, those people are terrifying. But for me,
there's always that doubt. I'm like, what if there is, like, a year or, like, a whenever that comes up where they're like, oh, look at this thing you did. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's so hard to, like, it's also hard to get a concise answer. Like, I went through this years ago.
I
Not to
know. And then
override
it's
what
like,
you're saying, but I realized, like, a while back, and this is spooky, but, like, if you are filing through an agency, which is what I do, and you have different people who are working on your taxes, everybody has a different opinion on what you can or can't do. They literally will say different things on what you should or shouldn't be doing. And I don't like that. I don't like it.
I don't like that either. See, my thing is that, you know, you make a mistake or whatever, and then they're like, cool, you made this mistake 5 years ago, so now you owe that amount plus the penalties, and it's been collecting interest, so you actually owe like $1 million. And I'm like,
literally,
cool, I'm just gonna go kill myself now.
That's what but actually though, whereas like with the police, they're not gonna be like, you got a fine 8 years ago and we somehow didn't fine you, also it collects interest. They can't, they don't do that.
I know. They're just like, you're going to jail. And I'm like, okay, cool. Free room and board, I guess.
You're like, you know what? My mattress is a little bit too soft. I really feel like I need to
toughen up.
Get a change of pace. Yeah, need to work on that. But no, definitely in the same opinion as you. And then also too, like, I feel like it's a lot more broad on why police might be interested in you. And it's like you said, if you're somebody who is just not an asshole and doesn't actively engage in criminal behavior, I feel like it's pretty much a non-issue.
I agree. All right, should we spin for our next question?
Yes.
What's the best hiding place in your home? Expose on Emily's home, guys. You're gonna know where to find all her most valuable tchotchkes.
Well, I guess it depends. Like, are we talking like hiding place for a thing or like for my human body?
For a thing. So if you were gonna hide a bag of salt and vinegar chips from your husband, where would you put them?
Dude, literally that's where my brain went. I was like, oh my god, I got so many hiding places. So many hiding places. I live with a man. You think I don't hide snacks literally everywhere? They're so good. Sometimes I lose where they are, and then it's a nice little surprise for me later on.
So, what's the tea? Where is the good hiding spot?
I'm trying to go through like my mind palace of what I've used as hiding spots and what do I think is actually a good hiding spot that I've used.
See, I live with a man who is probably slightly neurodivergent. So if I just move something like 3 centimeters to the left, he'll never see it. It's perfect.
Well, same boat. And also, I literally hid, it was a giant jumbo-sized bag of wine gums under the sink, but in the basket where my husband keeps his deodorant and his like toothbrush and other random things that he just wants to keep in there. He would go in there, be picking out deodorant and toothbrush and whatever else, flossers. Not once did he notice this bag of wine gums. It was genius.
He's like, this is where my bathroom stuff goes. There's
Actually,
no way
though.
treats could be
But,
in here.
Okay, good hiding spot.
Do we stop licking my foot?
I have used the inside of a pair of winter boots before as a good hiding spot.
Ooh, creative.
But it also depends on the time of year. So that's like my summer hiding spot for things.
Right.
Because I know I'm not wearing them actively. So it's not like they're stinky or like wet or weird. So you can put things in there and it's like a non-issue. But I feel like as far as like if I'm in the winter and I'm hiding stuff, I like to keep things, yeah, basically in places where you would just never think to look. You would never think to look there, which feels like an obvious thing to say. But it's like before what I was saying about the bathroom stuff. It's kind of like, I've done one where I have a laundry basket that I keep in the closet, and it's just got like the linens that we cycle in and out of rotation up at the top. Mm-hmm. So like I change the duvet and like the fitted sheet and stuff like that, like, you know, once a week, once every 2 weeks. So it's in a rotation. I would stuff my treats in the bottom of that thing because I know I'm going to be cycling back, and it's not like my husband's ever going to see it because why would he?
Yeah, why would he?
That's my job, I guess. So whatever. He don't get no snack because he don't help with bedsheet. Them's the rules.
Seems fair to me.
Right? What about you?
Literally the best spot is in plain sight. Genuinely. But if I'm desperate and I'm hiding like a gift or something like that, I usually just put it in like with our baking supplies because he's never gonna look there.
Good one. Another good spot, depending on the weather outside, is in the trunk of your car. I've done things before where, not in the vehicle I'm driving now, but before, it had a little flap at the bottom where the spare tire goes in, but there was no spare tire. I would just throw everything that I wanted to keep hidden in there.
That's smart.
And then if I'm out and about and I need something or want something, guess where it is? Right there.
You're so wise.
Only works with snack foods, though. And also, I do not recommend it with anything that's like
gonna melt,
perishable, because you're gonna get ants.
Yeah.
As far as tchotchkes, those can stay home.
Yeah. All right, let's spin for our next question.
Yes.
Have you ever been caught cheating on a school assignment?
No. I was too afraid, I think, to even bother doing that in the first place for the most part. Have I? Maybe. I don't honestly remember. It's been a hot minute.
Fair.
What? You're smiling. Do you have a memory of me that I don't remember?
No, I have a very distinct memory of myself from the first grade. There was a misunderstanding, really, is what it was. It wasn't an intentional cheating. We had a spelling test, and I was studying with my dad. He was helping me review my words, and I asked him, because they gave us like a list of these words, right? And I was like, Dad, can I bring these to school tomorrow for the test? And he's like, yes, thinking I was going to like review them before the test or something. And I like kept like asking follow-up questions, and he kept being like, yeah, of course you can bring them, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, I can bring them into the test. I'm allowed to look at these during the test.
You're like, open book test? That's fucking sweet. Why am I doing this studying thing?
Literally, and like I genuinely believed that I was allowed to look at them, so I wasn't even subtle. Literally, they started the test, and I just like whipped out of my backpack these words like right in front of me and started copying them down. And the teacher was like, hello?
I know, though, that you probably did it so confidently that the teacher had to like look back in their own notes to be like, did I say this was an open book? What did I tell these kids?
I was so confident, and then she busted me. She was like, you can't look at the words, that's cheating. And I was confused. It was like, actually my dad said I was allowed to bring these.
Yeah.
So then they called him.
Makes the rules.
They called him, and they're like, did you tell your child to cheat on her spelling test? And he was like, no. He was so confused. And we had a very long talk after. He's like, yes, you can bring them to school to look at before the test, after the test, just not during the test.
That's really funny. But you know what? I just love that you've always been so confident.
I have the audacity, apparently.
That's okay. Men have more than enough to make up for it.
It's true. All right, let's spin for our final question. If you were a criminal on the run, what would your fake name be?
I don't know. I feel like
Schmimily Schmormensch.
Like, there's a part of me that like wants to be creative and be like, oh yeah, I would pick something really cool because I'd have the opportunity. But I feel like if you're on the run, it needs to be something so ordinary and so boring and so generic, you know? Maybe I'd call myself John Smith. I don't know.
I think like John Smith or like Jane Smith would be almost too obvious though, because of how unobvious it is. You know, if you saw a driver's license with someone named Jane Doe, you would be like, this is a fake person.
You'd be like, that's a fake ID right there.
Yeah. If I saw an ID saying
sure.
John Smith, I'd be like, fake person. Not real.
I don't know. Well, also, too, you got to think, like, if you're picking a name for yourself and it's like a name that's different from your own, you have to trust that you'd be able to respond to it, too.
I think it would have to be close-ish to your name, but not so close that people would guess it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like if you're a criminal on the run, you're maybe not thinking about a lot of these things.
Yeah. So, okay, but what would your name be? You have to pick one.
I have to?
You have to.
Okay, I'm going to be... You go first.
I'm gonna be Emily Lawrence.
Fine, I'm gonna be Jen Will. No, I'm trying to think of like you remember the Tiger King, whatever that guy's name was?
Joe Exotic?
Yeah, like I'm thinking like I'll be
Carol Baskin?
No. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, because I remember reading something where it's like you pick like a cool sounding animal and that like as your first name, and then as your last name you pick like a person sounding name but of like a fast food place that you like to go to. So I'm like in my brain now and I'm like, do I like anything?
Wendy Bird. That's my name.
Wait, I love Wendy Bird. Fuck, that's cool. I like that. Okay, I want to be I've suddenly forgotten every fast food place I've ever eaten at.
You can be Carly Cat.
I was gonna say like a fox. I think would be a cool first name.
Carly Fox.
But now I'm thinking of like. Do you say Carly Fox?
Yeah, because Carl's Jr. I was trying to think
that
of.
That would be good. Carly Fox. I do like that.
I'm Wendy Bird and you're Carly Fox.
I love it. This is good. I like this.
Amazing.
You get caught so fast.
Yeah, immediately in jail.
Like expeditiously.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're on the run because we did something together.
Yes, and we're on the run from the CRA specifically.
Yeah, because I'm
afraid of my taxes.
Yeah, it just came to a point where we were like, listen, we don't trust the CRA anymore. They're gonna fine us for sure. We're just on the run.
Exactly. All right. Do you have any guesses about what my story is for you today?
Somebody was like, paying taxes is dumb, and they decided to go on the run after they cheated on their high school test.
Kinda.
Ooh, wait. Did they hack into something and change their name while they were in high school, and then they're on the run?
No. You're getting further away.
I know, I got too creative with that one. I'm staying with my first option.
Someone does go on the run and change their name. You got that part right.
Wow. That was so I'm just a psychic, you know? It's that it's that intuition. I got this one in the bag, I think.
Truly. Well, let's go on a journey together. Me and you. Today we're taking a road trip to Calgary, Alberta.
Holy moly. A hometown story. What the fuck?
Story close to home today.
Wait, oh my god, is this where you're like, and this is the story of how I, Jen Will, I'm now going by.
No, but could you imagine? It'd be great for
God,
views.
I'd be like, no, don't put that out there. That's fucking spooky.
I've avoided telling this story. I've had this story on my list for so long, and I've avoided telling it because it is pretty close to home for us, and I'm a little spooked out by that, but I feel like it's been long enough now that it's probably okay.
I'm ready.
I'm going to talk about a man, as we usually do, named Douglas Garland. And he was the oldest of 3 children born to Archie and Doreen Garland, and grew up on a small farm near Airdrie, Alberta, just north of Calgary.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of Airdrie, Em?
Have I?
Have you ever been to Airdrie?
They got Big Mall there.
No, they don't.
That's
Balzac that has the big mall.
Is it actually? I always thought it... You know what? That's not important.
Yeah, the big mall is in a small town called Balzac.
I thought for sure that mall belonged to Airdrie.
It belongs
I get
to Balzac.
Weird.
Actually, 2 big malls belong to Balzac. One of them is just completely dead and empty.
2 makes sense for a place called Balzac.
It really does. They're literally across the street from one another.
It
checks out, right? Yeah?
That's so on the nose. Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not talking about Balzac. We're talking about Airdrie.
We're not talking about Balzac. Okay, but yes, Airdrie. I feel like I usually get gas there, and what else do I do? I have been to the, what's it called? Around the World or whatever, that giant antique store that you and I stopped at once.
What on earth did you get there? If you're ever in Airdrie, that place is amazing. Oh yeah. I mean, we should be gatekeeping this secret, but I'll let it slide.
No, it's really good. Sorry if I get strangely cut out. I know Jen will probably have to cut out one of my yells. I have Rosemary. She literally just flew into my arms, and it was cute, but startling. But yeah, I feel like beyond that, and maybe some work trips, that's pretty much my extent at Airdrie. I know a couple people who've moved there that we've been to school with, while they've transitioned from our place of origin to maybe having a residency in Calgary, but that's about it.
Fair. I feel like that's about all you need to know about Airdrie as somebody who lives within proximity to it.
Fair enough.
So our guy Douglas was born sometime around 1959 to 1960. And as a young man, he had aspirations to be a doctor. Doreen said that her son attended Camrose Lutheran College, where he took a Bachelor of Science, not silence.
The Bachelor of Silence. If only all men could go to school and get their Bachelors of Silence. I think that's the monastery.
That would solve all of our problems in the world.
This is what we need. This is what we mean by people need to be educated, guys. This is what we're talking about.
Oh, specifically the men listening. Who have
probably me too, actually, but that's less funny.
Anyways, so Bachelor of Science before switching to the University of Alberta for medical school. Man, that was a Freudian slip right there. The Bachelor of Silence.
I love it. It's good.
So according to Doreen, her son had no friends and seemed troubled, which is never a good sign.
No.
When your mom says, yeah, my loser son, no friends, not a friend in sight. We're not in for a good tale.
That's dark news on the horizon right there.
Yes, it is. So he attended med school for 1 year before suffering a mental breakdown. His mom said, quote, he was admitted into first year medicine at U of A, which is the University of Alberta. He attended for a few months there and seemed to have had kind of a breakdown, so he left the university. According to 2 former classmates who also attended the U of A at the time in 1987, that wasn't quite fully the truth. Apparently, he was suspected of cheating in his first few months in the program. One of his professors set him up on a test and caught him in the act, say the former classmates. After being voted class president just a few months earlier, he was kicked out of medical school.
Ooh, okay.
Which is quite the turn of events.
For sure.
So Douglas faced criminal charges in the late 80s and 90s, but they were either stayed or withdrawn. Among them were 2 counts of possession of a prohibited weapon in 1988 and 1999, and an assault charge in 1989. In 1992, RCMP busted an elaborate methamphetamine lab on the Airdrie farm where Douglas lived with his parents. The then 33-year-old Douglas was charged with drug trafficking and possession of stolen property. He attended his first court appearance, but while out on bail, he fled to British Columbia, where he lived under a false identity for 7 years. He assumed the identity of Matthew Kemper Hartley, who was a 14-year-old boy who was killed in a car crash in 1980 in Cardston, Alberta, according to a document from the Tax Court of Canada. For much of the time, which we'll get back to that because I think it's kind of weird.
Okay.
That
yeah. From what you said, I was like, that's suspiciously convenient.
A random child he's not related to dies in a random car crash in a small Alberta town, and he picks that specific child.
Yeah, it's a little too strange for me, but okay.
Yeah, me too. So, for much of the time he was in BC, he worked at a private lab in Vancouver. After being fired, he collected unemployment benefits under the dead boy's name. When it was later discovered that he had collected benefits using a false identity, he wound up in tax court where a judge described him as intelligent, but said that he had attention deficit disorder and suffered from breakdowns. Weirdly, many years later, documents with the name Matthew Kemper Hartley were found hidden in the basement rafters of his home in Airdrie. The significance of why he had these documents are unknown, but people have theories and lots of questions.
Hang on. I just need to make sure that I'm understanding this. You're telling me that this child who died, that this man had his paperwork in his home.
Correct.
Somehow by magic? You know what it's giving? It's giving
I murdered a child, allegedly.
Yeah, it's giving either I murdered a child or it's giving allegedly? I have a residency on the dark web. That's what it's giving.
But that's alleged. We don't know. Just saying. We have questions and lots of theories.
I'll tell you what. If somebody was in my home and moved the one panel I have to the attic, and like somebody's
case files,
whole life's of flew out of there, and I feel like that leaves you with more questions than answers, regardless of all of the other stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
So, Matty's caught up to Douglas in 1999 in Richmond, BC, where he had also been arrested on theft of a tractor trailer. Douglas then returned to Calgary in January 2000 and pled guilty to several of the charges in connection with the drug bust and stolen identity. He told the court at the time that he had been traumatized after causing what he described as a horrific accident after falling asleep behind the wheel years earlier.
It's more giving I murdered a child. We're getting very close to I murdered a child territory.
But somehow, as spoiler, we don't know if he killed this child or not.
I mean, I guess unless this child happened to be carrying all of their paperwork somehow in the booster seat in the back. I guess? I don't know, dude.
It feels...
I don't know.
It's really weird that he's like, yeah, I had this horrific car accident where I fell asleep behind the wheel, and also he stole the identity of a child who died in a horrific car accident.
Yeah, that's...
feels too coincidental to me. I don't know. I'm just a girl.
I'm also just a girl, so what the fuck do I know, I guess?
Literally nothing. So, again, weird coincidence, considering whose identity he stole, I'm not saying they're connected, but I'm saying it's a very weird coincidence.
It is, at the very least, strange and convenient.
Very
at
convenient.
the least.
At the very least. So the judge gave Douglas a 3-year sentence to be served in federal prison. The Parole Board of Canada released him after just 6 months. Douglas's mental health played a role in his crimes, board members said, and a psychologist determined that he had little violence potential to others. The board ordered that a psychologist and psychiatrist monitor him closely during his release. So, let's take a break from our guy Douglas and talk about a man named Alvin Liknes and how he unfortunately crossed paths with Douglas. So, this might be confusing, and I apologize if it is, but I'll try and make it as clear as possible. So, Douglas has a sister named Patty, and Patty is in a common law relationship with Alvin's son, Alan. So, we got Alvin and Alan. Okay? Makes sense?
Okay, so suspicious, intelligent man who may or may not be on the dark web has a sister. The sister is in a common law relationship with Alan, who is not the dude we're talking about, but his dad, Alvin.
Correct.
So, his not grandpa.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Patty also lists Alvin's daughter and son-in-law Rod and Jennifer O'Brien, as well as Alvin's wife Kathy, as friends on Facebook. One member of the Liknes family is also listed as a niece of Patty. So, it's fair to say that their families are quite intermingled.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
It's a wreath.
Yep. Here we are. However, the true problem between Douglas and Alvin comes from their business dealings. So basically, from what I understand, the grievance is it's over an oil pump that never made any real money and a patent dispute. So very Alberta. We're talking a very Alberta grievance here. Never heard anything more Albertan than this.
That is so grossly Alberta. It's not even funny.
Like, if you've been to Alberta, you'd be like, yeah, makes sense. That's why these two men are enemies now.
I fucking hate your guts because of the pump. So stupid. Alright, I'm locked in.
So Alvin had originally hired Douglas to do wiring for an oil pump that Alvin and his son Alan were working on. Alvin was an inventor, which, bring inventors back. We need more people who say my job is inventor, because that's fucking cool.
Honestly though.
So Alvin, our inventor man, had patented several designs since the 1970s. Douglas had slightly altered the patent that they had been working on and believed he should have been included as one of the inventors, but Alvin disagreed. This, along with Douglas being let go in 2007, caused him to develop a grudge against Alvin. Douglas kept festering in it, and he was definitely holding a very strong grudge. And allegedly, the grudge also grew to incorporate Alvin's wife, Kathy, as a quasi-sexual object. So, not only was he pissed that he wasn't put on this patent for this oil pump, but he's like, I also want to fuck your wife. And she won't let me.
Hang on. So, original man, who
Douglas.
We have so many questions about. He wants to fuck pseudo grandpa's wife?
Yes, correct.
He wants pseudo grandma.
But like they're the same age.
And a patent on something that he didn't make.
He helped with it. So I feel like there is an argument there, but Alvin said N-O and then let his ass go from this company. And he's like, can I fuck your wife? And he said, no, you cannot fuck my wife. and now he's mad. That's the most dumbed down version I can give you.
I feel like I'm appalled.
Okay, but it's not the most Albertan crime that's ever existed.
Yeah, in my mind, it's literally like what you just said. I'm unpacking it, and I'm like, okay, so pseudo-grandma, which I get, like, it's through his sister, but to me, I feel like if your sister's with somebody, like, it still translates as pseudo-grandma. You want to fuck pseudo-grandma, and you got a problem with pseudo-grandpa because he needed to have some grammar corrected on a patent, and you helped, and you're like, where's my cut? That to me is what I'm hearing. And it's like you said, it's only getting more Alberta the more I think about it.
Truly. So now that we've covered the grudge, from June 27th to 29th of 2014, Alvin and Kathy held an estate sale at their Park Hill home in Southwest Calgary on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The couple had recently bought a house in Edmonton, Alberta, and planned to clear out some things before moving. Their daughter and son-in-law, Rod and Jennifer O'Brien, along with Rod and Jennifer's 5-year-old son, Nathan, came over to help with the sale throughout the weekend. On the 29th, around noon, neighbors saw Alvin at a nearby park playing with Nathan. On June 29th at 10 p.m., the estate sale was officially over. Closed up shop. So Rod and Jennifer decided to leave Nathan with his grandparents for an impromptu sleepover, and they went home. Right? So when Douglas learned that Alvin was planning on moving away to Edmonton, he decided, I have to act now. Now is my time for vengeance.
I'll never get my chance to fuck Grandma if I don't do it right now.
Basically.
Somebody release me from this torture.
And for reference, for people who are not from Alberta, Edmonton is about a 3-hour drive away. You know, it's not like he was moving to Spain. Very easy to go strike your vengeance on someone in Edmonton if you live in Calgary.
A determined individual could quite literally leave early in the morning, get there, spend the entire day in Edmonton if they chose, and still make it back home and go to bed at a reasonable time.
Correct. Like, it's doable. You know, long drive, be a long day, but it's totally doable.
Absolutely.
Lots of time to exact your revenge from Calgary.
More than enough. That's 3 hours of thinking about your revenge. You've got so much time. You got nothing but time, I think.
But that's not what Douglas wanted to do. No. He decided that now was the time. So police later found that Douglas had secretly searched up incriminating things such as how to kill without emotion, force needed for concussion, and most painful torture. Just some casual Google searches.
You know, I too would love to learn how to just turn off my feelings and be a psychopath. I think that Google could teach me. I think that Google could teach me how to do it.
If not ChatGPT, for sure.
Obviously, they gotta have a wiki answers on that by now, I'm sure. Yeah, a wiki how on how to be a psychopath.
I'm sure they do. So,
probably.
Many of the details of the murder remain unknown, as Douglas has remained silent since his incarceration. But sometime between Nathan's mother leaving the house and her return the next morning, Douglas used a drill to access the house through a side door and then disabled the home's router. Alvin was sleeping in the master bedroom, and Catherine and Nathan were sleeping in the front bedroom. Douglas attacked the three and beat them until they were incapacitated and bloody. Evidence was presented in court showing that Douglas attempted to clean blood off the floor using a mop before dragging the victims to his pickup truck and driving them to his rural property. There he murdered all 3 victims, likely after extended torture. DNA evidence found on multiple pieces of evidence, including a hacksaw, meat hooks, and the shoes Douglas was wearing when he was first arrested, matched the 3 victims. The theory presented by the Crown was that Douglas then burned the bodies near his shed to dispose of them.
I don't think he needed a wiki how on this. He's got the psychopath part down.
Yeah, he was good. I guess it was just like extra prep. He needed to study. He was like, I just need to
He's like, I
top
forgot
up.
my flashcards. I forgot my flashcards. What am I going to do?
Basically. So the next morning, on June 30th at 10 a.m., Jennifer returned to pick up Nathan, but no one was home. Nathan, Alvin, and Kathy were nowhere to be found. Upon entering, she discovered the three missing and saw blood throughout the house. So she called the police, and an Amber Alert was issued for Nathan at 5:15 p.m. Later that day, police announced that evidence in the house suggested that the disappearance was suspicious. On July 1st, aerial imagery taken from a plane flown by Peregrine Aerial Services for the city of Airdrie showed two adults believed to be Alvin and Kathy lying face down in the grass and a small body lying next to them near an outbuilding on the Douglas' farm. When the farm was flown over again the next day, the bodies were gone.
That's fucking spooky.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
On July...
Also, what'd the kid do? Sorry, I always hate these stories because it's like literally, like the kid
I
understand
was literally
like,
just
they always say
collateral, you know, like he was just
they're like
there.
they're like, oh, witnesses, whatever, as if you didn't think the blood on the floor was going to be a huge indicator. Like, it's just stupid, right?
It's so stupid. So, on July 4th, police asked for help identifying a green pickup truck seen on multiple CCTV cameras in the area of Calvin and Kathy's home. Alvin's son, Alan, and his wife told authorities that the green pickup matched the Ford F-150 driven by Douglas, leading him to become one of three major suspects in the case. On July 5th, police organized a ground search of the area of the Liknes house, one of the largest in Calgary's history. The same day, the RCMP executed a search of the Airdrie property belonging to Douglas and his parents. During the initial search of the property, a green pickup truck matching the one seen in CCTV footage was found and seized. Douglas was taken in for questioning and after being released was charged with identity theft of Matthew Hartley from the 90s. Though the charge was later stayed, police used it to impose court-ordered conditions on Douglas and investigators were tasked with his close surveillance. So this charge allowed him to be kept in police custody until July 11th when he was granted bail under the condition he would not return to the rural property. The police's search of his property lasted from July 5th to July 20th, and the investigation at the Liknes home ended on July 13th. In total, police collected upward of 1,400 pieces of evidence in what is called Operation Amber, the largest number of evidence items collected for a court case in Calgary's history. So this man just making history with this fucking dumbass murder.
I like how they were like, we need the identity thing in order to bring him in, and I'm like, as if the rest of this isn't enough. I'm just confused, but I mean, whatever helps, I guess.
I think the identity thing was because they didn't have enough evidence to actually arrest him for this crime, but they were pretty sure it was him. They used that to their advantage.
Gotcha. Yeah, the way that I interpreted it was they were like, I don't know. Let's just bring him in on this and see what happens. He could be, I don't know. And I'm like,
well,
anyways, it's fine.
It is Alberta, so that could also be true. Who's to say?
I know. That's the thing, because it's in Alberta. I'm like, it's not looking good, fellas. It's not looking good.
So, evidence collected from Douglas's farm included a Tyvek suit, face mask, boots, books about disposing bodies, whips, lock-picking devices, chemical gloves, over 14 pairs of handcuffs, dental anesthetics, and an assortment of knives, tasers, and other weapons. 8 pairs of women's shoes, 2 blonde women's wigs, and an adult diaper were also found in the basement of his house. Photos of adults in diapers were also found on a hard drive, which was hidden in the rafters, which is also where the case files on this literal child were found.
I have so many feelings. Like, not to yuck somebody else's yums, if this feels fitting, the only thing that's missing, in my opinion, is a t-shirt that says, incest is cool, and then maybe another one that says, I love hot grandmas. Like, those are the only things that are missing.
It just, all of this is
I
leading
want
back
grandma
to
to
the
change my
theory
diaper.
that this man was definitely on the dark web. Like, that's the number one theory.
That's what I mean! Like, this is nonsensical to me. I'm like, there's no fucking way. Okay, for starters, it's pretty much everything. But it's like, okay, so you're an intelligent dude who went a little bit anxiety crazy and dropped out of school, because apparently you have ADHD, which has now led to you impersonating a dead child and also killing 3 people, and also you just want grandma to wear a diaper, or you want to wear the diaper and have grandma change you because you think that's hot. Like, there's just a lot happening.
There is so much happening. And I have so many questions for this man that will probably never get answered, but
all I have are questions.
I just want to know. So a search around the area of the sheds found 3 blood stains in the grass, as well as burned material in the nearby fire pit. Evidence found in the fire pit included 17 teeth, 2 of which belonged to a child, bone fragments, pieces of burnt flesh, jewelry, and buttons. So I think the theory that he burned their bodies is pretty sound.
Yep. That sounds like the big probably.
On July 14th, Douglas was staying at the Motel 6 in Airdrie when he snuck out in the early morning hours and appeared to be heading in the direction of his Airdrie farm in a rental car. 2 police vehicles were dispatched to intercept him, but when they reached Douglas's car, it was parked outside of the property. Due to the uneven terrain, police approached on foot using assistance from a helicopter to locate Douglas in a thicket before arresting him at 1:25 a.m. He was arrested and held for questioning until the morning of July 15th, when he was formally charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. The murder trial for him began on January 6th, 2017, and drew to a close on February 16th, 2017. Jurors took over just 9 hours to reach a verdict of guilty on all 3 counts of first-degree murder. The following morning, Douglas was sentenced, with only the minimum sentence being determined, as first-degree murder carries an automatic life sentence. After 10 of the 12 jurors recommended that Douglas receive consecutive minimum sentences, Judge David Gates ordered Douglas to be required to serve 75 years before being eligible for parole, as Douglas would have had to live 129 years of age to finish the term. He will effectively be incarcerated for the rest of his life. Throughout the trial, Douglas showed no remorse or emotion. Hours after being sentenced, he was sent to the Calgary Remand Center, located in the city's northwest, where he was physically assaulted by multiple inmates. EMS said Douglas was transported to hospital in stable, non-life-threatening condition with soft tissue injuries. So the inmates were like, "We're gonna beat you up. Pow, pow."
I feel like the consistency that comes up in your stories when it comes to like people who end up killing other people is the people who end up killing children get it bad in jail. That's one of the brighter spots in your stories. I feel like that's very justified.
I watch a lot of people, like former inmates or people who've gone to jail. I don't know what the correct term is there. People who've gone to jail.
I feel like former inmates are people who, I think they call them reformed. Like people who are reformed and now reintroduced back into society.
Yeah, I've watched like a bunch of reformed people share their experiences from prison, and that is very consistent in their accounts as well, is that people who fuck with children get fucked up.
As it should be. Like, that's what I mean, though, especially, not to say that it ever makes sense killing another person, but I do feel like there are certain situations where it is so nonsensical, and you have to go out of your way so intentionally to add violence towards children into whatever other crime is being perpetuated, that there's no way that even other criminals are going to look at that and think to themselves, like, oh, you needed to do that.
Well, Nathan was a 5-year-old child. What could a 5-year-old possibly do to deserve not that anyone deserves to be, like, tortured and murdered, but a 5-year-old's done nothing to you or anyone in this world yet, you know?
Exactly. And if your concern is the 5-year-old could be a witness,
no, they literally
5-year-olds can't even be witnesses to literal true things that happen in their everyday lives. They're literally 5 years old.
Like, they're not really going to be, like, I don't know. They're not, a 5-year-old is not going to be that helpful on the stand. I don't even think they would put them on the stand, you know? So, really,
I don't know.
Why even bother?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I feel like, not to invalidate people's experiences, especially with crimes, especially in that age group, I feel like trauma obviously plays into this quite a bit. But it's kind of like what you and I have touched on, which is when you are in your cognitive development, especially as a child, there's so many factors coming into play where is memory something that's impacted? Is reliability even a question at that point? Like, that's why it's such a thing. It's like, that's a literal child. That's not the situation that can be navigated even as an adult person with confidence, especially in these scenarios. When you're implicating a child into that, it's like a whole other thing.
Well, I think that's why a lot of these predators target children that young, is because they're not a reliable narrator. It's harder to get the truth out of them. It's harder for them to, like, remember or be concise about their experience, right? So they're easier to abuse in that way, which
just makes it
gross.
Nastier and more nonsensical.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
It's he didn't have to kill the child. The child had nothing to do with the fucking patent or oil pump. Like,
exactly.
He wasn't even born yet.
Literally, unless the child was there and was like, you can't fuck my great-grandma. Like, literally, what else could it have done? Well, him, you know?
I think it was just his grandma, not great-grandma. But anyways, that's aside the point.
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
Emily's like, I don't care. Fuck this man.
I'm over it. Get him out of here. He's pissed me off.
Well, maybe we'll pay him a visit next time we're in Calgary.
Ugh.
But absolutely not.
To beat him up? No thank you. I mean, yes, to beat him up. Listen, if he's in a rage room, but no. I don't know. But yeah, not a good tourism visit for me, I'd say. I think he's good to stay where he is, and we can just keep our distance from each other.
That's probably for the best.
But for other people to ask him.
I just want to know what the fuck the blonde wigs and adult diapers were for.
Listen, knowing men, he'd be like, oh, I don't know where those came from. Oh, I'm pretty sure those are my friends.
Yeah, this is someone else's.
Weird. Obviously, it's not mine.
Yeah. But anyways, that's my tale for you today.
Woof. I don't know if, I don't think in our history of the show we've touched on something this close to home. I know we've done Canadian things before and items, because we used to do ones themed around, different Canadian things. In case anyone was curious, yeah. We do be Canadian.
In case you couldn't tell from the accents.
Or for worse these days. Well, I do think as I get older, my accent gets worse. I can hear it sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, that's happening.
I know it.
But I do think we do touch more on American crimes. But yeah, no, that's crazy. I've never heard of this in my life, ever. It just kept getting crazier, which is insane. I didn't think you could do that, and then it did. Fuck that guy. Also, poor Nathan. He was literally 5, sweet baby angel. Did not deserve that. Neither did his grandparents either, obviously. But I don't know. That guy should get beat up again. I'm not going to do it, obviously, but somebody else needs to.
You might get your wish. Who's to say?
He's pissed me off. He's actually pissed me off. I think somebody needs to beat him up again.
I mean, they did immediately. As soon as he got there, they're like, It's time, fella.
Oh, man. I don't know. But how did you come across this story?
I was working on a show, on a production, and the producer was telling me about it because this is back when we had just started the podcast, actually, in 2019.
Weird.
And I was telling him about our podcast, and he was like, oh, have you covered the crime of this guy in Airdrie who killed someone? And I put it on my list then, was too afraid to cover it, and here we are today.
It's fun how that works. I've managed to cycle through my list of items I wanted to cover at least 5 times over. Turns out there's only so many supernatural, paranormal, mystery, etc. I've had to broaden my spectrum. But no, that's cool that it's been on the list for this long.
It's true. I'm trying to, because I have a long list of crimes to cover, so I'm trying to go to the top of the list and work my way down.
See, I am trying to... So what I've done is I've gone back to our earlier episodes and trying to trace on if there's any that maybe I've forgotten about that I've either already covered or I've covered a couple different times, because sometimes there are updates or more information available as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Or ones that are just related, because there's a few ones that I've done that connect to other stories or other events that I haven't covered, so I'm trying to, pull some strings and see what we come up with.
Well, email us and let us know if you think Emily should branch out more into conspiracy theories, because I love when she covers a conspiracy theory.
I do too. It's an interesting journey too, especially when it comes to conspiracy theories that are off the internet versus ones that are on the internet. 2 completely different worlds, but I would be more interested in covering those and any other topics, I guess, if people are interested in me covering related nonsensical content, because that's my job.
Exactly. But that brings us to the end of our episode for today.
Rock on. Well, if you liked today's episode, please make sure to leave us a review on wherever you're listening to our podcast. We do have our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com, if you want to check us out on there. We have our Patreon, which is Wheel of Crime at Patreon. We have our email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com. And we have our social media, which is on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Wheel of Crime. We do also keep our listener form up on all of our social media now 24/7. I was going to say 5 days a week. That's not what 24/7 means. Regardless, it's always there. And if you listen to one of our episodes and you're like, God damn, that reminds me of this other random thing, and it's a crime, it's mysterious, it's supernatural, it's paranormal, it's kind of kinky, it's weird, you write in and you tell us all about it, and you might get a feature on our next listeners episode. We do have one coming up later this year. No set date yet, but make sure to write in, and like I said, you may get that feature.
Yes, and that's it. That's all. We'll see you next week for another new episode. Okay, bye.